Perfect. All right, and we'll get after it here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so back, and I haven't been more excited for an episode. I know every time I intro, I say that I'm excited, but this truly is special, man. Special, man. I'm sitting with, hopefully I can call him my friend after we sit down. I'm with my friend Unk. And what's your real name? I know everyone calls you Unk, but
Daniel Goodrum.
Daniel, it's great to have you here, my friend. This is a big moment for me, man. This is the first time, I'm having on a guest like that isn't my friend. So this is a super big thing for me, man.
Well, we're friends now.
I love it. I love it.
Oh yeah.
So now, when I'm on a date with a girl, I can say, "Look, I know Unk."
No doubt.
That's right. Unk,
Yeah.
man, it's great to have you here, man. So we're here.
It's great being here.
With my buddy Matt, and then, your two sons.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, I know that we've had a couple things that have come up that, have pushed this back and all that stuff, but I'm glad we finally get to sit down, man.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad to be here, man. I feel honored to be on your show.
Yeah, no.
'Cause one day I'm sure
it.
you're going to be blow up, and I'm going to say, I was on his show when he just started out.
Get out of here. I appreciate that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, right, I'm going to spoil it a little bit, right? If you want to call it fame, if you want to call it clout, you can call it whatever, man. It's kind of hit you in the face out of nowhere. At least that's what I've seen, right? And after just us sitting and talking for just a little bit, I feel like there's no one better that deserves all that attention. I think what you're doing is great. It's honest, and you're making people smile, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. And it feels surreal, man. It's unbelievable how things have happened within the last month.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I love it. It's been crazy. So, for those out there that aren't super familiar with, what you're doing now or what you're into at this moment in time, right? Why has fame hit you in the face, right? And we'll start with that. So what were you doing?
Well, I've been performing as a street musician for at least 10 years. The first time I went out was in August of 2014.
Uh-huh.
It's the first time I actually performed as a street musician.
Yeah.
I had been watching the Sax Man for years. I had been watching him. I said, that he's got something going there. I like what he's doing. So I started talking to him about it, and he said, just get out and try it, man. Just do it. So I went on and I gave it a try the first time, and I made a few dollars, but it was a learning experience.
As a street performer.
First time I was out there, I was at a Cleveland Indians game, and right out on 9th Street. I was out there for about an hour.
You can't call them the Indians anymore, man.
Yeah, I know.
They're the Guardians now, man.
Yeah, well, it's Indians back then. But yeah, so I was out there for about an hour, and then I made a few dollars, but it was a good learning experience. And I said, you know what, I need somebody else with me because I was by myself. So I ended up getting a friend of mine, a sax player, and we started working together for a while. And then I started working with a singer. And that's when, and I had never sang before. Never. I've never sang. My kids can tell you, they never heard me sing.
Really?
And so I would always, play my horn. I'm a trumpet player. So I was playing my trumpet, and I had a friend. He was playing the saxophone, and then I started working with a singer. So we worked together for about a year or so. I was performing, made a lot of money, and had a lot of fun. And then I started learning little tricks from working with different singers. And so...
and you guys performed on the street in Cleveland after sporting events and...
Cavaliers games, Guardians or Indians games, and Browns games. And we did it for several years. It was a lot of fun and made some good money doing it. I've had days where we made more money probably at a Browns game than I did on my job.
That's incredible, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so now, obviously, the Cavs, right? I think that's one of the big reasons that you have been able to reach so many people. I'm going to tell you how I found you, and then you can tell me if that differs from your story or whatever. So basically, I was scrolling on Instagram, and I follow the Cavs, right? And I saw this clip of you, like singing outside of Quicken Loans there, okay? And so basically, everyone was dancing and having a good time, and you were doing the 11-0, 11-0, and I was like, that guy is awesome, really sweet. And so,
thanks.
I don't know. Are you still going up after games or during games to go and sing, or?
Well, I do, but I don't go out anything below 40. If it's below 40 degrees, I'm not out there because I'm too old to be out there if it's too cold.
Yeah.
But if it's 41, for anything over 40, I'm good.
I love it.
And no snow or rain.
I love it.
But yeah, I'm out there.
So when it comes to music, obviously, like from what I've heard, you do have an incredible voice. I can't believe that you didn't sing to your kids when you were when they were growing up or anything like that.
Honestly, I don't consider myself a great singer.
I'm
not a great singer, I'll tell you that. But I've worked with a lot of singers, so I know I stay in my lane. I stay in my lane. I know what I can do and what I can't do.
I see.
So I don't mess with any Luther Vandross or Philip Bailey or anything like that. But I know where my range is, and I just stay in my lane. But I'm really a trumpet player. That's my main instrument.
I see.
And I play a little piano. And I can play pretty much any wind instrument.
Yeah.
But we go into all that later. But I'm a trumpet player at heart. That's where my first love was.
And did you play growing up in school or anything like that?
I started out in the 7th grade, Central Junior High School, Cleveland. And 7th grade, I was sitting in study hall, and the band teacher came into the study hall. Must have been 100 people in the study hall, and it was pretty wild. And he came and he said, "I'm looking for people to be in the band." And I was like, "Hey, if I can get out of the study hall, I'll do anything," because it was pretty wild in there. And I say, "Can I be in the band?" So he said, "Yeah, come on." So he took me down to the band room, and it must have been 40 people that he pulled from out of the study hall. And everybody wanted to play drums, including me.
Correct.
That was the main instrument that I wanted to play back then. So he said, "Well, I can't have all these drummers." He said, "So some of you going to have to play something else." I said, "Well, what else you got?" So he pulled out this trumpet. He said, "I got a nice shiny trumpet here. Anybody want to play that?" It's real nice. He said, "If you want it, you can have this one." I said, "I'll take it." So he said, "And if you play trumpet, I'll give you private trumpet lessons." I said, "Oh, wow, okay." So I took the trumpet and started taking private lessons with the band director, Mr. Bain, James Bain at Central Junior High School. Took private lessons from him from day one, pretty much, at the Supplementary Center, downtown Cleveland.
And you can play almost anything on the trumpet.
Oh yeah,
that's sweet. Obviously, I'm sure you can agree with this a little bit. I don't think they make music like they used to, right? So basically, my first introduction to like music when I was very, very young. So my dad loved the Rat Pack guys, right? He loved Frank Sinatra, right? He loved Sammy Davis, Dean Martin and Nat King Cole, right? And that was playing all throughout the house when I was younger. But the reason that he first started playing it is, do you know Lou Rawls? You'll never find.
I sing that.
So Lou Rawls passed away in 2002 or 2003. It was right when I was born. Well, the house that we lived in when I was younger, our neighbor was his wife after he passed away, and so we would go over. And she would babysit us, right? And she would play his music, right? And I'd be asking my parents about that and all that stuff, right? And so now, because of that, right? I love instruments, right? I love singing, right? I love like what you do. It's just it's honest. It's not super doctored, because all the music today, right?
Yeah.
They're adding all these drums and 808s and all that stuff, right? Can you kind of agree with that? Is music ain't the same as what it was before?
Well, it's definitely not the same. It's definitely not the same. And in fact, but it's good and bad in all of it, because you can do a lot more by yourself on the keyboard. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. I can do everything by myself at home.
I love it.
I used to go to the studio and spend $500 in a studio, whereas I can do it all at home by myself.
Correct.
Now on the keyboard and sound like a full orchestra.
That's crazy.
So, but you said you were born in 2000?
I was born in 2002, man.
Man, I've got shoes older than you, man. Wow.
No, but and think about this. Bron has been in the league longer than I've been alive. That's crazy,
Wow.
bro.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey. But you seem much older than that. You got that old soul,
You know what? I appreciate that. Especially coming from you, that means the world.
Wow.
Obviously with all the success that you've had lately, right? Was there ever a moment that it kind of freaked you out a little bit, or kind of scared you in a way?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I would just say, I've always felt like, a lot of people my age tend to think that their life the better parts of their life is behind them. Mm-hmm. But I've never felt that way. And in fact, my kids can tell you, I tell them that all the time. I feel like my better days are in front of me.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Not behind me. And I know a lot of people my age think, oh, you crazy. No, we're in the fourth quarter. I'm like, you're in the fourth quarter. I'm just starting. I'm just getting started. I feel like I have a lot more to accomplish. Mm-hmm. I'm like the eternal optimist. Mm-hmm. My kids will tell you, I've always felt like I'm still in it. As long as I'm alive, I'm in the game. Mm-hmm. So,
and you are how old, Unc?
Well, let's say this. I don't know if I want to tell you that.
No. You don't got to do that.
I'll tell you. People, I'm a blessed. I think that God is working through me to show people that it's never too late.
I love it.
I'll be 70 in March. Okay.
I love it.
I'll be 70 in March. I'm 69.
70.
Yeah,
years,
these
man.
are my two sons here. Mm-hmm. One's 34 and 31.
Mm-hmm. No, and
and I have a daughter, 41.
And I was talking to them a little bit, and they're very intelligent, and I'm sure they're just as successful, just like their dad, right? Obviously, I keep saying obviously, so you said that you performed on the street, and then you worked a job outside of that. Yeah. What did you do?
Well, I taught music in the Cleveland schools for 28 years, but I taught for 30 years total. I taught in Columbus for 2 years, and I taught in Cleveland for 28. So total of 30 years, 31 really. But and then I subbed for 2 years after I retired. But yeah, I went to Ohio State University, graduated with a degree in music.
You're a Buckeye?
Oh yeah, definitely. Buckeye till I die.
I love it. That's sweet.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I remember we spoke on a phone a couple weeks ago, and you said that you were a student at the University of Akron too?
Well, I took classes at Akron U, some graduate courses. Yeah.
I see. And so what do you have degrees in?
I just have a bachelor's of music education from Ohio State.
Yeah. That's sweet. That's super cool.
And a half master's, but I never finished the master's part.
I see.
Yeah.
So, with music being your thing and all that stuff, we talked before, and the song that played at the beginning of the episode, right, is your song, right? And you said, that you've been spending a bunch of time in the studio, right? Are people texting you and blowing you up and trying to get your time? Because I know you're a busy guy now.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I just forgot something. Oh man. If we could.
Yes.
For 1 minute.
Yes.
Just so I can take care of something.
We can. But do you want to pause it real quick?
If you don't mind.
Okay, yes. And then we'll get back to
yeah.
No pressure.
Promise.
We're good. All right, perfect. We are back. Did you get everything taken care of?
Yes, I'm sorry. I just remembered when you said that. I forgot something that quick. But yeah, people are texting me and calling me, but I try to stay grounded, man. I don't let this all go to my head. I definitely don't, because I know that, like I said, this is God working through me. So it's not me doing anything. I'm just a vessel.
I love it. When we would text or talk, you would always be really good about getting back to me on the phone or, responding in good time and all that stuff. Because obviously when it comes to stuff going to your head, we've seen that happen a million times with a bunch of people and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then also, with being in the studio and all that stuff, you told me that you were writing a book as well.
Well, I have 2 books that I'm working on, but I'm not close to being done with them, but I have started on 2. One of them is about my life period, and then the other one is about my life as a teacher.
I love it. Obviously I don't want you to give away all the sauce, right? But being a teacher and teaching music, right? And enlightening kids and bringing them to, something that you see so dear, right? What did you learn from that?
Wow. Well, I know that everybody's different. So you just have to, I try to treat people the way I want to be treated. And everybody learns differently. Sometimes some of the worst, quote, worst kids are the best kids in the music class. So you really can't go by what other people tell you about somebody. You just have to find out for yourself, see how people are. Because if I treat people, like I said, I treat people the way I want to be treated. And as long as somebody shows me respect, I'm going to give them the utmost respect. And until somebody shows me different, I'm not going to listen to somebody else tell me about somebody.
Correct. I think, in today's day and age, it's all about respect, right? And like things are always changing and all that stuff. But I think the morals that you have, right, are everything when it comes to, like, what am I trying to say? I think the way that you, hold yourself, you embody that idea of, just be kind. And that's what it's all about, And I think that's very, very, very different from, a lot of people, right? A lot of the people that I talk to, right, they consider themselves realist instead of an optimist, right? And I hate that, because when I sit down and I talk to someone, and you talk about the kids that were bad, right? I think I was kind of one of those kids, right? I would keep talking and I wouldn't shut up, right? But later in life, I feel like that energy that people look down on for so long, right? I think it's almost been like my superpower in a way, because now, all I want to do is I want to to talk to people, right? I want to reach out. I want to have conversations. Were you always an optimist?
Oh, I've always been, because my mother taught us that, nobody can tell you. She would always tell us, don't let anybody ever tell you what you can't do. We were not even allowed to use the 2 words, I can't, together. We can never say I can't. Never say I can't. So we were always taught you can do anything you want to do. And so we're always positive about, I have 2 other brothers with, my mother and father had 3 kids together. My father had 6 kids total, but my mom had 3 kids together. And we're all different, me and my 2 brothers. But I was always, I was all over the place. I was very good at sports as a kid, and I was also good at music. But nobody in the family played music other than myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Did your parents, were they musically inclined or anything like that?
No.
Really?
Like I said, I started in the 7th grade at Central Junior High, and we had at Central Junior High School, they had talent shows. Well, it was like not a talent show, but a spring festival at the end of the school year, like in May, they have a spring festival. My first year, there was a group that played in the spring festival, one group of young guys, and there was one guy in the band. He was kind of like my idol back in the, as a teenager. He was a trumpet player, and when they played in the band, there was a couple guys that were ahead of me. I was in the 7th grade; they were in the 8th and 9th grade. But they had a band and they played in the talent show, and I just saw how the girls went crazy when they played, and I was like, "Oh man, that's what I want to do."
So that's your motivation.
Yeah.
Women.
So when I saw how the girls went crazy when they were performing at the spring festival. First year was a guy named Pierre DeMud on trumpet. He's at
he sounds like a trumpet player.
Yeah, well, Pierre actually played with the Daz Band years later. I'm sure you heard of the Daz Band.
I'm too young, man. I tell you what, I don't. I'm telling you.
Well, all your audience, they would know the Daz Band. They had a good song out, "Let It Whip."
Okay.
Well, he was in that group, and back then he was the best trumpet player in junior high school, and high school at East Tech. Also, I went to East Tech High School. And then the next year was a trumpet player named Frank Hudson. He was the best trumpet player, and these were my little teenage idols back then. I wanted to be like them, Frank and Pierre, and so I wanted to be like them. They were ahead of me, and they ended up going up. Like I said, Pierre ended up playing with the Daz Band, and like I said, I just wanted to be like them, and.
Now you're doing your own thing. That's great.
Oh yeah,
that's
definitely.
great. I think it's cool to see how music and performing, maybe not just music, but the art of performing, how it works in all these different people's lives, right? Like where like the guys that you look up to, right? They were playing for a band and they were performing for people, and your love of music, right? Performing on the street, it's just, it works in so many different ways. Yeah. So when it comes to, being in the studio and all this stuff, right? Being, we talked a little bit before about, how music is different and it's changing. I kind of have 2 questions, and you can kind of put these how you want. Do you think music is better or worse now, or do you think it's indifferent? Right? And 2, are you listening to any of the artists that all the kids are listening to today? So, like, are you listening to Drake and Kanye? You know what I'm saying? Are you in touch with all that stuff?
Well, I try to stay up on the latest trends and things. I think the music, there's some good and bad in all of it. I mean, I like some of the newer artists. I like some of the new singers. I especially like singers like Lettucey. You probably never heard of her, but she's great singer, great singer. I love her voice, and she just got an incredible voice. I like people like Mariah Carey. There's some guy singers too. But I mean, the music, like I said, nowadays you can do it all on the keyboard, whereas when I grew up, we had the bands. My all-time favorite band was Earth, Wind, and Fire. I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire was the band.
Yes,
And then there was other bands like Kool and the Gang. There was so many of them. Sly and the Family Stone. I grew up on all that. So, but I wouldn't say it was better. I think we had probably more original type stuff. Now everybody's sampling other people's music and stealing, ideas from stuff that happened 40, 50 years ago. But I mean, like they said, there's nothing new under the sun.
Correct.
People, it's all the same old stuff coming back. But it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. But I hear new stuff that sounds good too. There's some good performers out here. Very good, but they're coming from everywhere now.
Correct.
You hear people coming over from all over the world.
Yeah, no, it's very different, and I think you know, in the same way that, you know, back in the day, you know, you had your bands and all that stuff, you know, and you said that, you know, like history repeats itself. You know, I think it's just nobody reinvents the wheel. They just take a trend that happened a long time ago and they put their own spin on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? With obviously music today, right? Do you still listen to the older stuff that you used to listen to when you were younger?
Yes, I do. I listen to. I'm a jazz lover.
Okay.
Really, that's where my heart is. But I also like gospel music. I listen to gospel music, and then I listen to some rap. I had a rap song out years ago. I did. In fact, this is not even my first Cavs song.
Really?
I had a song out on the radio about the Cleveland Cavaliers back when. What's his name? Mark Price and Brad Doherty were on the team.
That was before me, man.
And I also had a Brown song on the radio. And my Brown song was in heavy rotation back in the late 80s. It was in heavy rotation.
Okay.
On the radio.
Okay, so this ain't your first time being in a studio.
No.
So have you worked with a bunch of people before?
Oh yeah, I used to manage singers and rappers. I managed 6 people at one time. I had them under contract.
Okay.
And I managed a singing group, 4 girls, and then I managed a rap group. They were young guys. They all went to East Tech High School. I was teaching at the time, and they were all students at East Tech. And I saw them I had a talent show while I was there, and they were part of the talent show. And it was 2 different groups. And I saw that these guys had talent, and so I said, you guys need to get together. So I put them together as a group, 2 different groups.
In school? Or?
Yeah, and they formed one group. And I don't know if I want to say their name, but yeah, okay. Well, the name of the group was called Strict 9. And they became pretty popular, and they ended up putting a song out, which I didn't. I took them in the studio. So the first time they had ever been in the studio, I took them in the studio, and we recorded a couple songs, and then they ended up working with some other people, and then but one of their songs was like #1 on Billboard.
Really?
Yeah, this was after.
And you were responsible for
But
that.
I got them started. I got them started, but they had never been in the studio. But they, like I said, they went on to have success. Their song was #1 on Billboard for at least probably 6 to 8 weeks. And Billboard is a national magazine.
Yes, yes. Yeah. That's sweet. That's super cool. Yeah, no, all right, so your sons are wanting me to ask you a question. So okay. They want me to ask you about your girl group, For You to Know, and Chris Webber.
Oh wow!
What about them?
I don't know if I wanted to go into all that, but I used to manage a group of 4 girls. They were called For You to Know, and I took one of the lead singers from out of the group and did a solo project with her.
Okay.
And
anyone that I would recognize?
Probably
today?
not, but anyway, she was very good. She was as good as anybody else that you see out there today. And I took her in the studio, recorded her, and she started shopping her demo, and she became pretty popular, and there was a lot of interest in her. So, like I said, I don't know if I want to say too much about that, but let's just say it this way. She had major record companies interested in her.
Okay.
And it all kind of fell apart. So I ended up just removing myself from that whole situation. But like I said, I was her manager, and that's about as much as I want to say right now because,
They're shaking their heads, man.
Well, they don't quite understand, but it's a lot of legality stuff involved.
I see.
But I'll just say this: my lawyer and the other party's lawyer went back and forth until I ended up just dropping the whole thing because I couldn't afford to fight this guy in court because he was a millionaire.
I see.
So when you don't have money, lawyers want my lawyer wanted $125 an hour.
Yeah.
And I couldn't afford it, so I had to drop it.
Yeah. Okay.
But I had a good case.
So, so saying that, so one of the things that I deal with, this is actually very, 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 interesting. So, obviously, in my episodes that I do, right, I play songs, right, you're not allowed to play copyright songs or whatever, or else they get their hand in the jar, right, and they take some of that and stuff, But now I have to be very careful of what I play and put on here. So, like, if I pick a beat or, a song or whatever, I have to run it through a website and make sure it's not copyrighted, right? Obviously, you just said that you're kind of like, familiar with all that stuff in the music industry, right? One of the big things that I hear a bunch is there's a lot of like corruption, right? With these big, the big record labels, right? Like one of my, you hear it all the time, right? Whether it's with Taylor Swift, or all these people that, want to own their music, but these, people in the record industry, right, are selfish and greedy and they want to make money. Obviously, I don't think you would ever do something like that, but did you see a lot of that?
Oh, definitely. I saw a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, I try to live my life with what they call reverence.
Reverence.
Yeah. And
enlighten me.
Basically, it's similar to just integrity. Just try to do people right, do right by people. Reverence meaning, you won't do the wrong thing. You're going to do the right thing. You're going to treat people right. You're not going to, integrity to me is doing the right thing even when nobody's watching.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of what reverence is, doing the right thing, doing right by people.
Yeah.
And I saw it so much where some people are just out to take and take advantage of people knowing that they're doing wrong or trying to get over on somebody. I was not raised that way. I was always raised to do right by people, treat people right, be fair with somebody, because what goes around comes around.
Oh, correct. Yes.
You think you're getting away with something, but it might not come back from the person that you did it to, but it's going to come back.
Yeah, no, you can call it God. You can call it the universe or whatever. But I think, at the end of the day, right, everyone kind of gets what they deserve at the end of the day.
It's going to come back on you, and some people don't believe that. They think that they're getting away with something. But it might come back to you. It might not come back in the same form. It might come back in the form of your health. Because you can have all this material stuff. If you're not healthy, what difference does it make? Because your health is your wealth.
Yeah.
Your health is your wealth. And if you're not healthy, you can have all this material stuff and somebody else is going to benefit from it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've been learning a lot about what's important in life, and, and talking to you and your sons, it sounds like you guys have an incredibly strong moral compass, right? You always want to do the right thing, so I never got big in the music industry, right? I'm still young, so maybe there's still time. But one of the endeavors that I partook in was I sold life insurance. Okay, so basically, I would call people and I would go door to door, right? And I would go into people's homes and I would present. Okay, and I want you to know, Unc, like everything they say about insurance salesmen is true. We're all pieces of shit. Like we were all dorks, all that stuff, But, being there and in doing that, I had a lot of opportunities to, kind of take advantage, right? And people do take advantage, right?
Yeah.
But I think, obviously I stopped doing that because I didn't agree with the morality of what I was doing. But I think, what you talk about, doing the right thing, and then it comes back around full circle. I think the success that you've had lately and the people that you've reached is a perfect example of that. I feel like, with you being kind and well spoken and caring for others, I think, and your son said before, when it comes to, success, I don't think there's, any such thing as luck.
No.
And I think everything that you're doing and seeing and being now it's not luck at all.
Oh no.
It's a product of the kindness that you've shown others over the course of your life.
Well,
if that
one
makes
thing.
Sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I try to do when I'm out there performing, if somebody gives me a nickel,
Mm-hmm.
I say thank you. I don't care if it's a nickel or
People are giving you nickels
or
though.
$5
They
or
can keep that,
$100.
man. I tell you what.
I'm going to say thank you, because I know they didn't have to do it,
Mm-hmm.
So, and this thing is so heavy. I feel like I'm carrying a 5-pound weight or 20-pound weight.
I'm sorry about that. If you want to
No, I'm good.
switch hands or prop your elbow or something like that.
But I just try to say thank you, because I appreciate anything. And they don't have to give me anything. If they just tell me they like what I'm doing, I'm happy about that, So it's not about the money, definitely.
Yeah.
So.
And so, going into all that, obviously a lot of good things have been happening in your life, right? And we talked about before how people, want to take. Have you had any encounters lately of people trying to maybe not take advantage of you, but kind of stem off what you're doing in the wrong way?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had situations where, I've had friends, I've had partners who I couldn't trust. I couldn't even, I mean, it's sad when people that you're working with or that you're trying to help,
Mm-hmm.
You can't even go to the bathroom without them stealing out of the bucket. It's like, whoa, man.
Yeah.
I've had friends like that I couldn't even trust to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
We got to split the money before I go to the bathroom.
Correct. So
and
they
then,
don't do you dirty.
and even with contracts where people, they know that they're trying to get over on you or trying to take advantage of you. With a contract, It's like, you saw that not too long ago recently, but it happens all the time. But I don't blame the person who's trying to do that, because you have to educate yourself about what you want, because if you don't,
Yes.
then you get taken advantage of, and then whose fault is that?
Correct.
You got to read the contract, so you got to, but I know myself, I'm not trying to take advantage of anybody.
Yeah,
And I would never take advantage of people. I try to do people right. I try to, be fair with people.
Yeah.
But everybody's not like that.
Yeah.
So.
And so, outside of singing and, and performing, what other things bring you life? You enjoy?
Hey, I love being around family. I love being around good people. But I know that, things change and people change. But I love being around my grandchildren. I got a new grandson. That's DJ's son. So I love being around him. And Winona's my daughter. She has 2 kids, and I love being around those 3 kids.
She's got 3 kids.
Yeah, so he has 3 kids. Sorry about that. Yeah. But I love being around the kids, and I have my 2 sons here. I try to help them as much as I can. They don't always listen, but they're grown men now, as you can see, and they do their own thing. But I definitely stay in their ear. I stay in their ear.
As you should.
Yeah, I let them know what like my mother used to tell us. You can't say you didn't know. You can never say you didn't hear it from me. Now, you can do whatever you want to do, but you can never say you didn't know. You can't say that I didn't tell you. So now do whatever you want to do. So, and that always stuck in my mind, because my mom always tried to tell us the right thing. Now, we went out and we did some crazy things, but we all, in the back of our mind, you can always hear your mom telling you the right thing. Were you a
big partier? Like in college and stuff like that?
Well, I did all my partying in high school. In high school, I mean, I was a good student up until high school. Kindergarten, all the way up through elementary. You know, when, in fact, as a young kid, my mother used to take me to the library before I ever started school. She took me to the library just about every day. And I could read on a first grade level before I ever started kindergarten. And I was a very good student up until high school. But when I got to high school, that's when I became cool.
I see. You've always been cool.
So honestly, I didn't do very well, great academically, because I was in the band room all day. I just lived in the band room in high school, so I didn't care about all those other subjects. I just barely passed the other classes, just enough to get through the other classes.
I see.
But you know what? The Cleveland Public Schools back then, they had good bands, and they had these programs. They had one program where you could take music lessons down at the Supplementary Center downtown in Cleveland. And I took trumpet lessons down there, and plus they had bands that you can participate in. And during the summer, my summer job, 2 years in a row, was playing in the Snike Band. We had a program called the Snike Program, which stood for Student Neighborhood Youth Corps. That was my summer job, 2 years in a row, playing in the Snike Band.
That's cool.
Where I just played my trumpet. We would go there at a high school. Lincoln West was one of the high schools. We would go there, and we would play all day from like 9 o'clock in the morning till noon, and then we would eat our lunch, and then we would get on a bus and go and play somewhere every day all summer. That was my summer job for 2 years.
So you got to perform.
Yeah, as a trumpet player.
And they paid you.
And got paid.
That was
awesome. My summer job. So that was really my start. Really, I said, well, you know what? This is what I want to do because I got paid for playing my trumpet. I did that 2 summers in a row.
Yeah.
And plus I was taking private lessons at the Supplementary Center. And this was all through the Cleveland schools. And it really helped me to get established. I was pretty good. In my last year of high school, I was in all city band. And I was the only one.
So you were good.
Oh, yeah, I was pretty good in high school. And then I went off to college, went off to Ohio State, majored in music at Ohio State. But they don't have those kind of programs anymore. And I was taking private music lessons from 7th grade all the way through high school with some good teachers. But they don't have those programs anymore. And that's
really.
I tried as a teacher to bring those programs back, but they fought me.
That breaks my heart.
Yeah, they fought me, and I wasn't able. I did a few things. I was able to get the All City program, help get that going again, and we got it going.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They're not doing a lot with the band anymore.
Man, that's
yeah.
Yep. When I was in middle school, so I'll tell you my band experience is basically I started playing the clarinet in 5th grade. Okay, you know the Squidward instrument. Squidward plays the clarinet from SpongeBob, and so you know your experience in band is very different from mine because I wasn't the greatest player, right? But I loved it, you know, and I love being there. And so our band director, man, I forget her name, but I'll never forget her face. We would always have these playing tests. Okay, I'm sure you're familiar. And I go in and I'd be so anxious and I'd be nervous for these playing tests. And so she would always put me on the spot in front of the whole class and all that stuff. And so finally, going into like high school and stuff, I didn't think it was cool to play in the band, but this is what I'll say is if I could go back and do it all over again, right? I would sing in the choir, I'd play in the band because I have such an appreciation for the art that, and so what I do for work is I'm a golf caddy. Okay, I caddy at Firestone Country Club. I carry golf bags, and so being a caddy and playing golf and all that stuff, there's not much attention to art, right? And so, they're always, asking me, what are you going to school for? What business are you going to do, right? And it's very like, you've got to do this and you've got to do it this way, And I'm going to be honest, I go to school and I am in school for business now, but it doesn't motivate me like creating and sitting down and, making stuff does. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, now today, right, there's such a pressure, at least that I feel that, if I don't go to college and I don't get my finance job, right, I'm going to end up, not where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, with you, I feel like the dream is still alive, right? But I feel like, where I am right now, and this is kind of, an advice question, is, I want to go and I want to create, and, my goal in life is to be a movie director, right? I want to shoot stuff and record and do all that stuff. Throughout your, whole life with the music, and this is kind of a big question and you can answer it, however you want. Was there pressure to like not do the art anymore? And then, just kind of like, fall into the 9 to 5, right?
Well, you know what? Like I said, when I was in the band in school, that's all I wanted to do. I went to school. I had friends who used to come by my house first thing in the morning. Hey, come on, let's go downtown and hang out.
Yes.
Or let's go and get high. And I'm like, no, man, I'm going to school because we got a band program. We got a concert tomorrow. We're gonna be playing at the football game. The band is playing, and they thought it was corny, but I had a lot of fun. So
I'm listening to you. I'm gonna swap out the camera battery. The camera just died.
Okay,
but it's still going. So you can keep going.
Okay.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So I felt like, hey, I wanted to go to school because I was having fun. I loved what I was doing. Like I said, they wanted to go downtown and hang out and do some wilding out type of stuff. But I was like, no, man, I'm going to school. We got a band performance. We playing at the game tomorrow. And it was fun to me. So that's what I did. I had to cut a lot of my friends loose because, they wanted to go wild out and I wanted to, go and play in the band. They thought that was corny, but I'm like, you just don't know how much fun it is. And that's where the girls are. We had the girl cheerleaders and the high steppers and the boutonniers and, those girls were good looking, and so I was pretty popular in high school. My senior year of high school, I was the president of student council.
Yeah.
At East Tech High School.
Okay.
President of student council. So it's like, I was pretty popular guy. And so I had a great high school career, being in the band, all city, you
were a stud. You were that guy. So
well, when you mentioned the playing test and stuff in all city band, they would have challenges. And it was 18 trumpet players in all city band. And I set number 4 out of 18.
So you were good.
Well, I was one of the better ones.
You were the guy that I didn't like. The guys that made it look easy.
But check this out. I was number 4 out of 18 in all city. And practically every week, somebody wanted to challenge me for my chair.
Oh, so they could call you out.
Yeah, and if you didn't accept the challenge, you had to give your chair up.
Really?
Yeah. So every week they would tell me, you have to get here a half hour early because somebody wants to challenge you for your chair.
Oh, man.
And if you don't accept the challenge, you got to give your chair up.
I'm getting goosebumps, man. Yeah.
So every week I'd have to get there early and somebody would challenge me for my chair. But you know what? Nobody ever got my chair.
All right.
So that tells you a little bit about how good I was in high school.
I see. I know what you're saying. And then one of the things that you said before is you said, your biggest inspiration to become a trumpet player. I'm sure you were playing around with just a little bit, right? Oh, yeah. But you said those guys that were good at playing trumpet, the girls went crazy.
Oh, man.
Were the girls going crazy for you when you were playing the trumpet?
Well, like I said, in junior high school, it was Pierre and Frank. Mm-hmm. They were the two, they were cool guys and they could play the trumpet. And I looked up to those guys. Mm-hmm. And like I said, high school, same thing with Pierre was top dog on trumpet. And then he ended up going off in high school. He was playing behind, I don't know if you ever heard a guy called Edwin Starr. He had a song out called War. Mm-hmm. It was a national hit. And he played behind Edwin Starr. And then from there, he went off, played with another group. And then he ended up going off with the Daz Band. Mm-hmm. But like I said, those guys were cool guys. So I wanted to be like them, you know. And I mean, I played in several bands. We backed up the talent shows at East Tech. Okay. Miss Ross, I'm sure everybody that went to East Tech, or even all over the city of Cleveland, knew of Miss Ross. She was, world renowned almost, because everybody that did anything in Cleveland in music went through Miss Ross's talent shows. Okay. And so we played behind her shows. Mm-hmm. The band I played in, we were called, what was the name of the band?
And when you say
Electric Earth, we would call it Electric
Earth.
Yeah, we played behind her talent shows a couple times. And I was playing trumpet. We had 3 horns, trumpet, trombone, and saxophone, and then a rhythm section, guitar, bass, and drums.
And when you say play behind, were you like when I watch Jimmy Fallon, he's got a band in the back. Is that what you guys would do?
Yeah, we backed up all the singers and all the performers. Because back then they didn't have tracks. They didn't play the tracks. We would
That's crazy,
we would have to go to rehearsal for like a month before the show and learn everybody's songs.
Really?
And we played for everybody pretty much.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and Miss Ross was like a tyrant. Mm-hmm. She didn't play. Yeah. She did not play. If you did anything wrong, she would chew you out and spit you out.
She'd let you know.
Miss Ross everybody knows about Miss Ross. So anybody that went to East Tech or any other school, they would, if they wanted to, they were in music, they performed in her talent show because it was a citywide type of talent show. And she would have it sometimes at WHK. It was like where the Agora is now.
Oh, the Agora.
Yeah, on
I've
Fifth,
been to,
right off of Euclid.
I've been to a bunch of concerts there.
Yeah, well, WHK was like part of that same building, know. And she would have her talent shows there. Sometimes she would have them at the school. But yeah, they were big. So we used to back up her shows a couple years. And that's where I got my start at. I was playing in her shows and just junior high at Central Junior High School. Playing into Spring Festival. We played my 9th grade year, because back then they didn't have, 9th graders were still in junior high back then, because now they go to high school in the 9th grade, but back then it was junior high. Okay. So, but we played at the Spring Festival, and we played, my 9th grade year, we played a song called Sunny. And the girls went crazy. And then we ended up playing on the Gene Carroll show. I don't know if you heard of the Gene Carroll show.
Man.
It was a television show.
Man, you make me feel like I'm not cultured at all. Like when I sit down with people, like my buddies today, right? I can rip off any movie. I can rip off any song, man. But you're giving me stuff I got to go and check out, man.
Yeah, Gene Carroll show, it was a local show, and you could go down there like on a Friday and audition. And if you were good enough, they put you on. You would record the show, and it would come on Sunday, Sunday morning.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So, and it was pretty. I mean, some of the groups were not very good, but some of them were good. And one of the ladies, she was a piano player. She was like the assistant principal at my junior high school. So she told us she worked there. She played piano on the show. So she told us about how we can get on there. So we ended up being on the show.
She put in a good word for you?
Yeah. Her name was Miss Albritton.
Miss Albritton.
Yeah, she was assistant principal at Central Junior High. And she told us about it, because we had just performed at the Spring Festival. So she said, come on down. I'm play piano down there for the show, and you can be on the show. So we went down and auditioned on Friday, and they put us on.
That's sweet.
And, so when everybody knew we were going to be on, everybody was at home watching us on Sunday morning. And
that's
it was pretty cool.
That's cool. Being, spending your life in the music industry and, all the success that you have been through lately, I'm sure you've met some pretty awesome people.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have met a couple people, well, lots and lots of people, but one big thing I did, I went to New York City back in 1980, and I went there with the idea that I was going to take over. I wanted to be the world's greatest trumpet player. Okay, that was my plan. I'm going there to take over New York. I'm going to be the greatest trumpet player ever.
You and Louis Armstrong, right?
So I went to a music store on 54th Street. The guy that owned it, his name was Dr. Charles Colin.
Okay.
He had a music store there. He sold all of the hard to find music that you couldn't find anywhere else. He had it in his store. You could walk in there and pick it up and buy it right off the shelf because nobody else sold the stuff that he had. And so I went in there, sat in and talked to him, and he told me about all the people who used to come to his store. He said, because I went there I was in New York for about 2 weeks, but I went there on a Friday, I think, and he said, well, if you come by on a Saturday morning, he said, a lot of the big guys come by on Saturdays. He said, you can meet some of the really top guys. He said, this guy named Slide Hampton, he comes here all the time. He knows everybody knows him. He said, you ought to come by tomorrow on Saturday morning, and you can meet Slide, and Slide knows everybody. I said, okay. So I came by the next day. Because the first day I was there was like right before he was about to close. Like 4:30, he closed at 5 or something like that. So anyway, I came back the next day, and we were talking about Slide. He said, yeah, Slide, he always comes in here every Saturday. He said, yeah, Slide knows everybody. You meet him, you're in there. So just as we were talking about him, Slide walks in. I'm like, oh, wow. He said, yeah, this is Slide. This guy here, he's been coming in. In fact, I had been there I think I even might have came in there 2 days in a row. But anyway, he said, yeah, we've been talking about you. He said, yeah, this guy, he's here from Cleveland. He said, he said, what you doing today? So he introduced me to Slide. So Slide said, hey, what are you doing today? I said, I'm just hanging out. He said, you want to hang with me? I said, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So he said, well, I'm getting ready to go and see the Art Blakey Big Band up in Harlem at Grant's Tomb. I said, wow. He said, you want to hang with me? I said, yeah. I said, yeah.
That's awesome.
So I was driving a van back then. He said, is that your van out front? I said, yeah. He wasn't driving. So he said, well, can I ride with you? I said, yeah. So he said, come on, well, let's go have something to eat. He said, you got anything to eat? I said, no. So this was in the morning. He said, let's go have some breakfast, and then we can go to the concert, because the concert started like maybe 1 o'clock or something like that. So we had a few hours to kill,
Man, that's awesome.
He said, let's go and have some breakfast. So we went to some greasy spoon place in Harlem and had breakfast. Everybody knew Slide. It was like, we walked in the door and everybody said, hey, Slide Hampton, the world's greatest trombone player. Slide Hampton. And he was introducing me as...
And you're on his hip.
My main man from Cleveland.
All right.
I had just met him. Hey, this is Dan, my main man from Cleveland. So I'm meeting all these big famous people through Slide. Then we get there to the concert, we meet Wynton because I had been hearing about this young hot trumpet player, Wynton Marsalis. You familiar with Wynton Marsalis?
Man, you make me feel bad, man. I feel like I'm doing you a disservice not knowing these people.
Let's look him up.
I will.
Wynton
I promise I will.
Marsalis, he's a world-renowned trumpet player. And he was the hottest trumpet player coming up. He was like 18 back then. This was in the 1980. But he was everybody was talking about Wynton Marsalis. And I was 25 at that time. So I'm thinking, how old is he? They go, 18. I'm like, oh, well, no way he can be better than me. I'm 25. I'm coming to New York to take over.
That's right.
So I get there, and Slide introduces me to Wynton and all of Art Blakey's big band and all these guys. And I was blown away. I was like, when I heard him, I was like, God. Because I had been hearing about them before I even heard them. I had heard about them, how good they were. And I was like, oh, no way, they can't be that good. But when I heard them, I was like, oh, man. honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I was depressed after hearing that because he was so good. I mean, he was much better than me, and he was only 18, and I was 25.
Yeah.
And so when I got back to Cleveland, in fact, everybody was introducing me, giving me their card, telling me I could come by and sit in with them. But after hearing Wynton Marsalis and some of these young guys, the whole band was, most of the guys were no more than 18 or 19. And they were all
they could play.
cooking. These guys were really good. And I was like, and in fact, they were telling me to come on up and, because a lot of them had bands that they performed in later on. They said, come by and sit in. I'm like, I didn't pull my horn out the whole time I was there. Because I knew that I wasn't as good as these guys. I thought I was pretty good, but after hearing these guys, they were better.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, I can kind of relate to that. Not in the music sense, but they just had the Olympics on, right? And when you're young and you're growing up, right, whether you're watching the NBA or sports or whatever, right, those people are always older than you in your head, right? And I'm 22. And so, I'm watching the Olympics and these athletes, man, and like, what? All these kids that are joining the NBA, they're younger than me, man, and they're putting up points, man, and they look older than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it just, I get what you mean when you say depressed or feel bad, because you see these people that are younger and they're doing it better than you can. You know what I'm saying?
I came back to Cleveland. I didn't touch my horn for almost 2 years.
Oh, man.
I was totally depressed. I'm just serious. After hearing Wynton Marsalis, and there was another guy playing with Art Blakey, and he was like 19. His name was Wallace Ronnie. Had never heard of him, but the guy was just as good as Wynton. Wallace passed away a few years ago, but he was incredible. I was like, man. And it was so many. I went to jam sessions. I saw girls playing all instruments, drums, saxophone. I mean, some of them 18, 19 years old. They were incredible. I came back to Cleveland, didn't touch my horn for 2 years. I was like, no.
Man.
I almost wanted to completely quit because I was so outdone. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
I might as well forget it, because these guys were 6, 7 years younger than me. I thought I was pretty good. I had never heard guys play that well that young.
Gosh.
But it was a rude awakening. But after I dust myself off and got myself back together, start back practicing, then I realized, okay, well, maybe I won't be the world's greatest trumpet player, but I can still be decent.
And you still got it, don't you?
Well,
how often do you pull out the trumpet and play?
I haven't played a whole lot lately. I've been playing more piano lately, but I have different goals now. My goal is not to be the world's greatest trumpet player anymore. I've had some issues with my teeth as far as playing trumpet. That's the real reason why. And I was always having problems with my teeth when it came to my trumpet playing, but I ignored it for so many years. I was having problems where I would have pain, but I would just ignore it.
I see.
Until I finally tried to address it with a dentist. And then I had he gave me something, but it didn't really quite work.
Yeah, I see.
And so I'm not able to play as well with the dental issues that I have going on, because I have pain that won't allow me to play the high notes like I want to.
Yeah, because that's a lot of pressure in your mouth and on your teeth and all that stuff.
And I had one of my front teeth removed because it was the problem. I just let it go too long.
I see.
So I had to have one of my teeth removed, and I had to have like an implant in there. But it doesn't sit right for me to play like I want to. I can still play, but
I know what you mean.
I feel like my teeth are moving when I'm playing.
I see.
But But like I said, I don't have that goal anymore to be the world's greatest. I mean, I'm 70. I'll be 70 years old in a few months.
Yeah.
So now I'm just happy to be able to perform. And as a singer, like I said, I never sang. I sang probably for the last 2 years I've been singing. Never sang. They never heard me sing around the house.
That's crazy.
I was always playing my trumpet, and even the piano. I didn't really play a whole lot of piano around the house. I played a little bit, but Trumpet was my main instrument.
And you're a great singer. Let me give you some flowers. I tell you what, like from what I've heard so far, you know, and that's not, when it comes to being a great musician, that's not something that people that you know, that you hear about too much anymore, right? Like you'll hear about the great singers and the people that perform well, right? But you know, a lot of those people can't play the piano or play a lot of those instruments. They just sing. And but I think it's really cool that you can play the trumpet. I've always wanted to play the piano. I've always wanted to play, you know, the trumpet and all that stuff. And I'm very in awe of you being able to play really, really, really well. I think that's really cool.
Well, I think that gives me an advantage playing a trumpet as long as I have. I've been playing trumpet since I was 12. And that gives me an advantage because I can hear. I can hear when I'm playing the wrong note or singing the wrong note. And I know people who are great singers, but they can't hear when they're singing the wrong note. Or they can be flat or sharp and don't even hear it. And it's like, I'm cringing. And I'm like, oh, God, you know. And they're like thinking they're singing the right note.
Playing it, yeah.
And I'm like,
you are not killing it.
Yeah. You know, so that's I think that's one of the advantage I have is I can hear. My ears are very in tune.
You got a good ear for it.
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah,
I love it. Unc, you know, obviously we're getting towards the end here. You know, with everything that you've been through lately, and with, you know, your years of knowledge that you've gained, and with everything that you've seen, I think you have such a interesting perspective on what's important in life. And this is your, you know, 18th hole right here, right? This is your last stanza, you know. You know, if there's anything out there that people should be looking out for when it comes to you in the future, or, you know, anything you want people to know.
Well, I have a lot of original music that I'm planning on putting out.
Please.
So look out for some of my new music. That, in fact, where my cab song is coming out. It'll be out probably before Christmas.
Love it. I
mean, I just put it up and it's good to go now. So, and I have some other song. I have a song that I'm going to put out soon called Haters. Because we all got haters. We all have haters.
Trust me. Yes.
So that's my next song is Haters. And it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be hot. It's called Haters. You know, we all got haters. And then I have some other songs that I have, original music. So that's one thing I want to put out. Yeah. But I want to mention that I want to do some traveling. Travel the world. Travel the country.
As you should.
Yeah. You know, I have recently purchased an RV.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a used RV. But,
but you're still... You're still pimping. Those things are sweet.
I want to travel and really start doing some traveling in my RV, and hopefully I can get a new one day. But I'm using this one just to learn about it, and because it's my first time. Yeah. And hopefully
I'd be nervous driving that big thing, man.
One day I want to get a new one, but right now I got an old one, and I'm learning how to, you know, deal with it,
get around it.
Yeah. But then, so that's what I want to do. But look out for my new music.
Look out for the new music.
Yeah.
If you could put all your knowledge into one sentence, what a crazy question. What would it be?
Well, like we said earlier, what goes around comes around. So I believe in doing right by people, treating people right. Just, you got to have the right attitude. You got to have a good attitude because, you know, you just don't know who's who. You know, I believe in God. I believe that, you know, like you said, there's no coincidences. No coincidences. Everything is, there's a purpose in everything.
It's by design.
Yeah, it's by design. You got to understand that, you know, there's, you know, some things are meant to happen. And you know, I'm not in competition with anybody, you know, because what's meant for me is meant for me. And, you know, God will, if you try to stop me from doing something, God might take you out because you're trying to stop his mission for me. Yeah. So, you know, that's what I'm talking about with the haters, you know.
That's right. And they say comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah. So somebody's trying to stop me from doing something. God might take them out because, you're trying to get in the way of his goal for me. So
wonderful. I love it. Unc, thank you for sitting down, man. This means the world to me.
Thank you.
Shout out your sons, man. You guys are absolutely awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here with me through this journey that I've been going through. Unc, you are a clinical step in that journey, and I couldn't be more thankful, man. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been 2G1C, man. It doesn't get much better than this. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Cavs gon' make history. Cavs got another victory. Cavs gon' make history. Cavs got another victory. Cavs gon' make history. Cavs got another victory. Cavs gon' make history. Yeah, it's a victory. We gon' do it again. Another victory. Go, go, Cavs, go, go, Cavs, go, 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 go. Yeah, it's a victory. We gon' do it again. Another victory.